Hi, I'm Jacqueline, and the channel is The Meyer the Merrier. A couple of friends from back in the US had asked some questions just about what a day in the life of expats living in Thailand is all about. And one of the main questions that they asked was just things like going to the grocery store, what that's like. So we took some video about the grocery store that we frequent. We don't get everything at the Makro. There's a store called Lotus, and there is a store called the Big C. Lotus is really close to the kids' school. There are a couple of them on the island. There are a couple of Makros. There's just one Big C. So when we need to pick up just a little bit of something that we can't get at the Makro, we end up getting it at Lotus typically. All right, we decided we would do some grocery shopping. This is the Makro. It is the closest thing we have here to a Costco, but it is definitely not a Costco. It is a restaurant supply store. You cannot use a credit card. You can pay with a QR code or you can pay with cash. This produce section probably looks a decent amount like the produce section at the grocery store where you shop. There are some fruits and vegetables that are grown here. There's a decent amount that is imported from around the world. Chinese grapes, there's pineapple that's brought in. You'll see a lot of Thai food that has a garnish of cucumbers, and so you might get, a giant bag of cucumbers when you're grocery shopping. You can get lettuce or you can buy a salad in a bag. I should have taken a little bit of a better video of this, but in the United States, everything is weighed right up at the counter, and they just plug in the code of the vegetable or the fruit and they weigh it there. Here, everything's weighed in the produce section. Not everything needs to be weighed, and sometimes I don't know which needs to be weighed or not. I hold it up, the person by the scale gives me a nod or shakes their head, and that's when I know which ones to put on the conveyor and have weighed by the person in the produce section. All right, this is interesting. So in Thailand, other than at restaurants or at wholesale shops, liquor is only on sale from 11 to 2 and then 5 to, how late is it open? 5 till, late. We're never out late enough that it's closed down.
From 2 to 5.
You can't buy it from 2 to 5 every day. Beer selection, a lot of bottled water. We are unique because we can drink the water in our villa. Very unusual from what I understand. We have our landlord has put in some kind of a water filtration system. Coke, Sprite, Fanta, Schweppes. Again, not the giant offerings of soda that you might see in the United States with 15 different kinds of Cokes. This is the snack section, so we usually have some of these for the kids to take to school. Juice aisle looks like this. Passion fruit juice. Pretty much everybody in the family likes it. We've been through lots of juices. This is the crowd pleaser, 169 baht for a 3-pack. We don't have all of the brands that we would necessarily have in the United States when we're here, and there are some things that are a little bit different. I have on the counter with me about $200 worth of groceries that we picked up today. Dropped the kids at school. The Makro opens at 6 a.m., which is great for me because that means when everyone's asleep on the weekend, I can sneak out and do a little grocery shopping if I'd like to. So I have the stuff in the fridge is the fridge stuff, and the freezer stuff that's not out here because it's very hot in Thailand. And so I'll bring that out kind of in the second section. Just to kind of give you an idea about things that are here that we may or may not have in the United States, I'd like to go over some of the key things that I think may be a little bit different. And one of the things that I think about is this little bag right here, which is a bag of flour. I think you can get a bag of flour this small in the United States. I don't. You can get Western salad dressings here in Thailand. This is called Praise, and it looks just like a bottle that we might have gotten at the grocery store in the United States. There aren't a lot of different dressing flavors, but there's an Italian and a balsamic vinaigrette, which are my favorites anyway. And I'm really the biggest salad eater in the family, so that works out pretty well for us. We like to eat a lot of pasta. There are several different pasta brands that are available at the Makro. you know, the pasta is also not particularly inexpensive here. But, you know, I think I might get lost a little bit on what pricing would be in the United States too. We've been gone for over a year, and we never really paid that much attention to prices while we were there. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we would just go and get what we would get, and if something seemed too expensive, we might not buy it. But if you want pasta, you end up getting pasta. At the Makro, I don't typically see things on sale. If I were at the Jewel in Chicago and pasta was on sale, I might get a bunch of bags of pasta. Here, it's never really on sale. We just get what we want. The kids love pasta. We eat it a lot of different ways. This is the peanut butter that we ate in the U.S. So we get it here. It's a lot more expensive here. I think I can get 2 of them in the United States for what I pay for one here. Then maple syrup, we're not, you know, you can get real maple syrup here. I don't think you can get it at the Makro. We're just getting the artificial stuff here, which we would typically only get the real stuff when we were in the United States. Steve is a giant Oreo cookie guy. When we're there, we don't get these little sleeves. We get giant bags of Oreo cookies. He says they taste a little different here than they do in the United States. I'm guessing that's true. Taco shells. There's one kind of taco shell here, and the prices are pretty reasonable, I think. But when you unpack these, they are packed in a cardboard and then literally bubble wrap around the taco shells. But we do still have, you can get regular taco seasoning, I think McCormick, just like you would in the United States. So that's perfectly normal. This is one of the interesting things that I found when we first got here. The landlord had left some of these in the refrigerator for us, which was very kind. They look quite fancy. It's just soda water and really, really inexpensive. Off the top of my head, I want to say it's about $5 for a case of soda water in glass bottles. And we go through this like crazy. Ryan doesn't like it, the girls do. But it's a really nice treat. You might want to splash a little bit of fruit juice in here. And then you can buy, you know, a giant packet of eggs. We generally are getting this down here. We just got a, I don't know, 30 pack or whatever it was yesterday or a couple days ago when we got back from vacation, 126 baht for this giant thing of eggs. They're not refrigerated here. They're not pasteurized. We put them in the fridge when we get them. Everything seems to work fine. We don't serve anything wrong. All right, don't be heartbroken when I show you this, but I do think that more than one restaurant uses these Tom Yum or Lab packets to make their stuff. We actually got this just recently. It's instead of using, you know, getting chicken stock is super expensive here, but I can make a liter of chicken stock by using a tablespoon of that for 205 baht. So that's a lot less than I was paying for the other. When we got here, I looked and looked and looked to see if I could find corn oil, what we would typically use in the United States, vegetable oil. What I find, and I don't know if this is it, but what I've typically been finding is palm oil. So that's what we use instead of corn oil. I think it works about the same. Very frequently buying things in the baking aisle. Imitation vanilla works just fine. Steve is constantly getting, as he is today, Hershey syrup. We are going to be rethinking this chocolate syrup because it's over $5 a bottle for that. Chocolate chips are different here. You know, we try to bring them back from the United States. I think, you know, so sometimes I get these and I kind of mix them half and half with the chocolate chips. So I think I'm going to pick some of those up today. 253 baht for 2 packages. Kids like these noodle cups, 6 of them for, you know, like $2. And so if they're hungry and Steve and I had a late lunch and we don't want to make a big dinner, something like that works. There's chicken nuggets here, French fries here. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with the yeast here. I tried making bread and cinnamon rolls, didn't turn out great. This is instant yeast, which I think is different than what we have in the United States. And then baking soda, baking powder for baking. And this is just a baguette, just like we would normally get at the bakery at the grocery store in the United States. I'm making spaghetti sauce tonight. We'll make it with the penne. That's what the kids like, even though it's not what Steve likes. I can't get everything that I want to make my spaghetti sauce the same way here as there. There are, I can get onions. I usually get those at the Lotus because I can get a small container. I don't want a giant thing of garlic, so I can get just a few bulbs of garlic at the Lotus. But this is what my tomato juice looks like. It's exactly the same. No problem, no difference there. But these two things are different for me. I get the seasonings are perfectly fine. I salt and pepper, no problem. Oregano is the same oregano that you would get in the United States. These are diced tomatoes and tomato paste. I think that the spaghetti sauce does come out sweeter here than it does in the United States. I've been told that there's more sugar to add it to some of this stuff than we have in the United States. But we can have a regular spaghetti dinner just like we normally would in the US. And then I'll take a break, I'll put all of this stuff away, and then I'll go through the stuff that we picked up that was in the freezer and in the refrigerator. Apples, Red Delicious, not always available, certainly are available frequently. Red, oh shoot, I ended up actually getting the wrong grapes. These are the Chinese grapes, which means they're the ones that are seeded. So that was a mistake. 51 baht for that. They had some pomegranate on site and all wrapped up and ready to go. So a pomegranate looks pretty big, pretty nice. 75 baht for that. This nice amount of tomatoes that I'll put in my salad for this evening, 39 baht. These are snow peas, and I think they're called baby peas or something like that here, and obviously used in a lot of Asian cooking, but the kids will snack on them. So sometimes they go to waste, but we do a pretty good job of kind of putting these out for the kids to snack on. It is a lot easier to buy your pineapple this way. 69 baht for the pineapple, which is going to be somewhere in that 2 to 250 range. This salad, I can get the salad, I can get the lettuce. There are hydroponic gardens here, and you can get salad. It looks like it's just a tiny bit. I think this is about let's call it $3 for the salad. But really, when you open it up, it sort of fluffs up, and there's a decent amount of salad there. And we had been getting whole milk, but we've decided as of today that we should probably go to something a little more low fat. So gallons are available sometimes. I think those are mostly used for folks that are, using them in some kind of a coffee shop or something like that, or a restaurant. We end up getting these because not every version of milk is available in the larger, they're not really gallons, but in a larger container than that. So there are lots of fish options, frozen fish options here. We don't eat that much fish. We probably should since we're here. And then there's kind of this giant fish market over here. And fresh fish in the red snapper over there. Isn't that unusual to have frozen duck? Frozen duck. Well, we don't eat a lot of duck. And then there's a lot of other frozen food. If you look over in the distance, you can see that there's meat that's just, you sort of bag your own like you would vegetables in the produce department. And so people that have restaurants just come in and get giant bags full of, whatever chicken or pork that they need to run the restaurant. So minced pork, pork loin, pork belly, again, pricing. A couple more things. I'm not going to show everything that we got into the freezer department, but a couple of things that I thought might be of particular interest. So this was a splurge, and they better be really good, otherwise I probably won't do it again. They didn't have them for a long time, and sometimes if there isn't, if you can't get them for a while, then you sort of snap them up when you can. So these are avocados that are frozen. So we're going to see how those work. Just unlike avocado toast or guacamole or something like that. There are two different sizes of ground beef. This is Australian ground beef. We end up getting this in the smaller pack or in one that's twice the size, either half kilo, which is a little more than a pound, or full kilo, in which case I usually end up just having it anyway. I do not do very well cooking with chicken breasts. I have no idea why. When we're in the United States, we would get those little chicken tenderloins that are individually frozen, and we would just, take them out to make things like pastas with chicken and those sorts of things. So we think this is going to be a little bit more like that, and hopefully the food will turn out a little bit better when I cook it. When we eat out, we eat Thai, or there's a great Indian restaurant, or there's a nice Mexican restaurant. But I generally am cooking the things that I would typically cook in the United States. Checking out is not going to be a whole lot different. There are going to be candy bars by the checkout counters. You can frequently get Snickers. You can also get Kit Kat, which aren't available here at this particular checkout, and both types of M&Ms are usually available. So generally they're just leaving things in the cart and kind of going through. When you come up, they'll ask you if you have a member card, which we don't. Maybe we should have, we just never thought to try to figure it out. So sometimes if you have enough stuff, they have to put it in another cart. And if they can get through without having to put things in a new cart, then they'll just work off your cart. So we're up to almost $4,000. So all in about 6,200 baht. When you go out, they do check your receipt, so don't put it in your pocket. Just hold on to it so that they can do that.